This video will show you how to replace the front outside mirror on a Subaru Outback. This will be mounted to your front door. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. To do this, we're going to have to remove the inside door panel. To remove the inside door panel, we're making our way behind the door handle. In this area, we have a plastic trap door, so I'm just using an angled pick to make my way in, and I can pry that out of place. That exposes a Phillips head screw. Now we can make our way down towards the grab handle. Now in this area we have that same circumstance where we have a plastic trap door and we're also going to have a Phillips head screw. You know what to do. Now we can start dislodging the panel from this area using a plastic trim tool. When we do so, keep in mind you have wiring harnesses down along the bottom area of the switches, and behind the inside handle, you're going to have some cables. I'm using my trim tool down along the bottom. You can start pretty much anywhere, either side or the bottom. Just make your way in between the panel itself and the door and gently separate. Now I'm going to start lifting this up. Along the top of the door panel itself, it has a small hooked area that rests along the top of the door. We can start pulling this away. Now let's have a look along the inboard side. Now you could just remove the entire door panel or just set it aside like we have here. Continuing on, we want to pay attention to this electrical connector. It leads up to the mirror inside of the door there. Now this should be attached to the door or secured. Ours isn't. Either way, there's a locking tab right where I'm pointing here. Go ahead and squeeze that in and dislodge this. Every time you disconnect an electrical connector, a quick peek at both sides. Now you don't have to remove anything from this area. This can stay latched to the door itself. We'll be paying attention in this area next. Now there's 3 10mm bolts that need to be removed. One will be accessed through this port and the other 2 right through there. Now as we start removing these, keep in mind that we also want to make sure the mirror does not fall out of the door as we remove the final mounting bolt. Now we'll make our way over towards this side for the other 2 mounting bolts. There's one up here and one just a little lower. I'm going for the upper first. And now as we prepare to remove our final mounting bolt, we just want to make sure the mirror does not fall out. You could either reach over on the other side, or you could just hold on to the cable. I'm just going to hold on to that cable. We don't need to damage anything. We're just applying light pressure. Now we'll make our way along the outside of the door and we can start removing that mirror. As we're pulling this out, we're also removing that wiring harness and electrical connector. There it is, friend. Prior to installation of any brand new part, let's make sure we clean and inspect the mounting area. I'm just using some glass cleaner directly on a clean rag and we'll wipe this down. Go ahead and give that a thorough inspection, confirming nothing's rotted, weak, or damaged. Alright, so now it's time to install that mirror. When installing it, we have our wiring harness that's going to go through first. We'll slide that wiring all the way down into the door. The next thing we need to do is align the mounting points for the mirror with the door itself. Now we have our 3 mounting bolt ports and we also have 2 alignment tabs. Everything needs to match up here and we can slide it in. There we are. Now I'll make my way to the inside. Now you can either have a second person hold the mirror, or you could carefully hold onto that wiring harness. If you're just holding onto the wiring harness, you only need to hold enough pressure to hold that mirror. Let's continue on with the bolt directly on our socket, and we'll start it into the mirror itself. Now I'm just going to attempt to lightly snug this. I'm not fully tightening it. I want the mirror to still move around. And then we can continue on to our next two mounting bolts. Let's get these next two bolts in here. They're all started in. Now we can snug them up. After securing all three of those bolts, it's time for the electrical connector. Just go ahead and line it up, press it in. We're listening for a click, and give it a tug. Make sure it's secure. In my case, I'm just going to be using a wire tie. I don't like to leave anything hanging around like this. Now it's time for the door panel. We're coming up nice and high. The top of the door panel has a hooked area that slides over the door itself. We'll press that down. Continuing on, we need to align the door panel with the door itself. There's several locking push clips. Line them up, press it in. A couple light taps all the way around, and we'll continue on inside the grab handle. We have that Phillips head screw. Okay, get that on there. Make sure that's nice and tight. Install your protective cover. Now behind the inside door handle, we have the area for our next mounting screw. And of course, we'll just install that protective cover. Now the next thing I like to do is just take some glass cleaner directly on a rag, and I'm going to clean the mounting surface. Now it's time to install the mirror cap. Once we feel as though we have it aligned, press it towards the mirror. We're listening for an audible click from each one of those locking tabs. Now we have our trim panel down along the bottom. Just as on the mirror cap itself, we have those locking tabs that I had mentioned. We'll just make sure those align as well. Just listen for an audible click all the way around. Double check to make sure it's properly secured in place. Let's just make sure we get this corner. There we are. Okay, friend, we finished the installation of our outside mirror. The next thing you want to do is test the functionality and align it to your preferences. Aside from that, thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.